Today you were getting 3 of us, so it's myself, Larry O'Brien, my colleague, Luke Reid, and Neil Hitchcock from Premier Foods. And we're going to do a quick presentation about every angle and what we do on the operational analytics made easy is the subject matter. Now, we work on top of SAP. So if you do not use SAP, this is possibly not the relevant session for you. And you can either sneak out shortly or whatever is relevant, okay? Well, without further ado, as I say, we are going to make sure we stop by 11 o'clock for the 1-minute silence, so anybody wants to flag that to me if we're overrunning, yeah? So, quick intro, we're just going to run through who we are, what control towers are. We're going to get into an actual operational demo of the product. We're then going to hand over to Neil from Premier Foods, who's going to talk about their experience of using the solution. Time at the end, we'll do a quick Q&A, and the close is just contact information if you do wish to get in contact with us. Alternatively, we have a stand. You're welcome to follow up afterwards or come up and ask us any questions. We'll make time for you because that's why we're here. Okay? Every angle. Every angle is a solution that sits on top of SAP. We do operational analytics, which basically means that within a few minutes, a user from a self-service point of view can get any information they require out of SAP. We deploy in a very, very short period of time. We cost a fraction of what you're used to. An implementation project for us is 30 to 50 days. A deployment time for us is weeks, not months or years. Costs, scale, everything is very different to what you're used to. We work on 3 principles. Understanding. So we want you to be able to understand the root cause of any scenario. When you have understanding, you can have control. When you have control, you can make improvements, so you can drive outcomes. We are a cross-process analytics solution, so you can start out looking at the fact that you're going to disappoint some customers, and you can go all the way back in a few clicks to the root cause of the problem, which might be purchase orders from a particular supplier who's letting you down. And we can do, you as a user can do that in, I think it's 3 clicks on that particular one. So, we fill a void. We basically say the organization is designed, executive management defines strategy, operational management define how you're actually going to do that on a day-to-day basis. Operational execution is how you go about the buying, the building, the sourcing, the selling, etc. of whatever goods or services you're providing. That links through to SAP, but then you report back to the executive management at a BI level. Problem is, you tend to have quite a big gap in there because the operational execution through to what you're trying to report at, there is a gap that you need to fill. In our experience, a plethora of systems turn up to fill that gap, whether it's ABAP reports, BobJ reports, SE16, Excel, spreadsheets, multiple versions of the truth. Those have certain issues behind them, all of which relate to risk. We basically come back to providing a single solution that addresses that problem, removes the risk, and empowers the end users to self-serve themselves in getting access to that information. Okay, and we try and do that as quickly as possible. We talk about knowing more and acting faster, and we simply break this down into, from a know more, we enhance the solution by removing complexity. So we've built all of the linkages that you need within every angle to interrogate the SAP system. We've also used a natural business language, so you don't need to know field names and table names. You can interrogate it using the language that you use when you're transactionally processing. Yeah? So if you're a user of the SAP solution, you can happily be a user of every angle and interrogate the data. We also add in built-in intelligence, so we add extra fields where we perform calculations and we check a status. A lot of those are tailorable and customizable for your specific requirements. So we have categories to say late, for example, and late is past the delivery date, but we might say that it's critical, and you may say it's 5 days, and somebody might say it's within 15 days. So we define that with you as part of the process. We also act faster. Now, this is the bit where you are allowed to doubt me, because nobody believes us when we now turn around and say the next bit, but we can actually connect up to your SAP instance, and we can be live and produce information for you within days. And by days, I mean 2 or 3, not months. We have literally hundreds of ready-to-use templates. I think the system across the board has just under 800 angles and template views. In the supply chain area itself, which is the core modules, we've got 300 plus. Most things after that are a version on a theme. You're not normally having to create from scratch, but if you are, we have wizards and a simple user interface to help you create that information, to help you create your new angles very easily. Okay? When we get into the presentation, Luke will touch upon that. Lovely. We are a self-service tool, so it's the martini idea, anytime, any place, anywhere. If you really want to do it from the beach, on your iPad or your phone, you can get the KPIs that you're most interested in. Not my personal desire, but some people will want to do that. It's also about delivering the information that you need. So we're not just about giving high-level KPIs, but we're actually about being able to drill down and understand the root cause, or what we call actionable insight. So we turn around and say that we close the gap, we know more and act faster, we understand, control, and improve business performance. Okay, control towers. If we think about the understand, the issues, and the act, and we'll use the control tower analogy we use is, if you think of a control tower with planes, you're not that interested in the planes that have landed. They've landed. That's lag reporting. It's historic. What you're really interested in is the stuff that's in the air at the moment, about to land, about to take off, their day-to-day operational analytics side of things. Yeah? Understanding the issues in ACT is looking at things, whether it's excess stock, shortages, unnecessary purchase. It's actually understanding what's there. So if we look at that, we're going to go this as a demonstration in a moment, but root cause, our service level to customer X is terrible. A lot of you will know that there is a specific problem somewhere. The issue is, what is the problem? Those are all the reasons why your service level could be bad for that customer. But which one is it? So every angle turns around and says, okay, we've got data, we've got actionable insight. Service level is terrible. We know it's because the supplier of vital components for these items constantly delivers late. What can you do about that? What's the action that you can take? Well, if we have 100 overdue purchase orders, the information is that these are the purchase orders that are the most overdue. Insight, 50 purchase orders contain items that have sufficient stock. 45 have excess stock or no demand. 5 contain items that are contained in a BOM for a production order for a finished product contained in customer X sales orders. So the criticality is, the actionable insight, we can reschedule out the first 50, cancel the 45, expedite the 5, and then engage with our suppliers. So it's about going from that, I have a problem, I don't know what it is, to here's the specifics of the problem, that's my understanding, going down to then what actions can I take and get my actionable insight. So we're drilling all the way down the path. So in every angle, we do start high-level KPIs, we validate control processes, we do all of that, but then we create action angles, which is, this is what needs to be sorted, so that you can go away and do that. So if somebody sees a KPI that doesn't work and picks up the phone to somebody, they can actually drill down into the data and understand what has to happen. Okay? So, as a product, we run across SAP, we run across all of these areas. Core, where we started, order to cash, procurement, supply chain. So that's core in our solution. We've extended out into plant, finance, HR, IT, and governance, risk, and compliance. So in any of these areas and across all of these areas, we can fulfill the piece. Talked about understand issues and act. We talk about control processes. So in all these areas, I can go in from any area and link to any other item. So I can go to governance, risk, and compliance and see at a transaction level where somebody has approved something that technically they shouldn't have been able to approve, so I can check the segregation of duties, but I do that transactionally. I can then drill down into that particular order, see who placed the order, see what it's about, see when it's to be paid, everything, go all the way through the system, end to end. From a point of view of improve outcomes, it's whether you're trying to improve customer service, impact waste, improve working capital, look at your cost to serve. We do this, as we say, high level, business performance KPIs, trend, control processes, and additional KPIs, transaction-based, what is the root cause of my problem, and then action items, what do I need to do to sort it? Yeah? Everybody understand that? I think that's the quickest I've ever done that piece. Okay, look.
Thank you. So, I'm just going to switch over to the software itself. And there we go. So, let's see if my pointer's working. So, this is what you get when you log into every angle. This is the screen you come to. And we've talked about control towers already. And what I just want to flash up here, I can find my mouse. There we are. So we've got a number of control towers that I've put into the system to pop up immediately. So when you log in the first thing in the morning, whether it's on your laptop, whether it's on your iPad, or whatever tablet you may have, I've got a number of different control towers that pop up. This one's to do with data quality. So you can see master data checks in material master, customer master, most important checks, details of aged and open orders, and vendor master for active details. We've got webinars about master data maintenance and also about some of the other control towers we're going to touch on. So you can watch those online on our YouTube channel. This one's to do with GRC. So Larry was touching about segregation of duties, so who's allowed to process what. In an example here, so if I just highlight this one here, you've got the same user who's posting the purchase order is also posting the invoice. You shouldn't really be having that in your system, posting the PO, posting the invoice. Here's the same one. Sales order gets processed, invoice to customer also gets processed. I'll move on to this one. So this is for inventory. So we're talking about total inventory value, but we're also talking about slow-moving and obsolete inventory. So what aren't we selling? What can we potentially get rid of in our warehouses? What can we free up space? Also inventory shortages. So what do we need? And also inventory values. And this is also projected. So as we're talking about, we're not just talking about the planes that are on the ground, the planes that are in the air, and planes that are about to land. We're looking to the future as well. This is our service one. I'm going to come back to this and talk about it in a bit more depth. And this is for waste. So again, where we're ordering too much in P2P, where we're holding too much, where we've got old orders that are still open, that's cluttering up your system. So we have this concept of pollution. So you may have been having, you might have a very mature SAP instance. You might have a number of orders. It could be thousands, could be hundreds of thousands. If they are MRP relevant, they are taking up a lot of valuable space in your SAP system. Every time you run a job, something is going to be happening to those orders, and they may have no impact on customer or vendor whatsoever, so you just want to close those down. And then overdue customer payments. I'm going to come back to our control tower for service and just look at these ones. So we're looking at delivery reliability from our vendors. We're looking at reliability of our delivery to our customers. And we're also looking to the future. So how are we going to do in the next 2 weeks? And you can extend this as much as you want, compact it as much as you want. And you can also set these percentages. So if I look at our delivery reliability from our vendors, our expectation is to be in the green, so the red, amber, green reporting. And again, you can set these percentages to whatever you think is appropriate for your business. We should be between 90 and 100% from our vendors. And actually what we're getting is 79%. I just want to pop this one up because if I maximize this one, so this gives me a breakdown of our procurement from a PO perspective, so a standard PO where we're purchasing from a vendor, and then a stock transport order, so when we're moving goods internally. You can see, and as I said before, we're looking to try and get 90% delivery reliability. Here, we've got 50%. Here, in this week, so we're broken down by week, we've actually done very well. We've got 100% there. But the previous weeks, we've been hovering around 80, so 82 across the piece here. So we want to talk about operational analytics made easy. So what can a user do about this information? You have this nice overview. That's great. That shows you the high-level detail. But but now I actually want to find out a bit more information. So I can click down into this line, and what I'm now drilling down to is the lowest level of detail. So I'm getting all the fields from SAP and also all the built-in fields as well, and I should be producing a nice long list that'll come up. And this may be stuff that you'll recognize if you're a user. So you've got your purchase order number here, purchase org, the plant it's coming from, material description, quantity, short text, and then your vendor information. What I want to do here is I'm just going to do a bit of sorting here. So I'm going to sort this ascending. So I've got open ones. I've also got closed. Let me filter on this one. So now I want to look at my closed. I also want to see how our performance was in the last few weeks. So I equal it to closed. And now I'm going to take myself down. I think I had 53 lines in that previous one. I've now taken out my open ones. I'm down to 43. But right now, I'm still just looking at 1 week. So what I actually want to do is look all the way back. And in this example, I'm looking for any PO that's been created in the last 90 days. So if I take out one of my filters, and again, this is what we would expect your business users to be able to do once they've had the every angle training. This is not for IT. This is for your business users to be creating this. So now I've got 1,404 purchase document schedule lines. I'm just going to pop this up again. And now I'm going to show you just the nature of some of the manipulation you can do with the data. So if I scroll along here, you can see I've got my vendor information. I've also got this field called delivery reliability. So Larry touched on this earlier. This is one of our built-in fields. So this is going to tell you how your purchase orders are performing and ultimately how your suppliers are performing. So I click on this, create a chart on this one. And the good news is, because I'm at 82%, I can see that I am delivered on time, quite a large chunk, and I've delivered late a few here. I can put some other information in, which may be of value. So right now I'm just looking at count, but maybe I also want to look at how much I've ordered and just change the nature of the chart. So you can see you've got a number of different chart options that you can select. And I can click apply there. So now I've got a chart that not only shows me the count, but also the value. We're looking at rather big numbers there. So if I format the field, I take this down. So now I'm looking at millions. And just apply that again. So I've done very well. I've delivered a lot on time. A lot of high value on time has come from my vendors. But I'm not really interested in the stuff that has done well. I'm interested in the stuff that's failed. So I've got 226 that have been delivered late. So let's drill down into that. And now we've got a nice long list of everything that's been delivered late. And now I really want to see who is responsible, which vendors are responsible for these late deliveries. So I can do a quick pivot on my vendor details. So I've got my vendor description here. And what I should have is now a slightly shorter list showing who my late vendors were. I'm now going to put a bit more detail in here. So if I put in purchasing group, and from my suggested fields, I believe, there we go. So I can select my purchasing group, and let's have a look at my ordered value again. So we can have a look at ordered value there. And we should get two columns appearing here. I can just order it on total ordered value. So let me sort it very quickly, descending. Click OK. And what we've created very quickly is a list of your vendors that have failed you over the last 90 days, so anything that you bought in the last 90 days, by value, and also by purchasing group. So if you use purchasing group, these are the buyers that you want to be talking to look at these particular orders. And again, I can drill down into any one of these and get my line item detail and find out what I've actually ordered and who I need to speak to. It's a very quick way of taking it from a very high level, so you've been looking at your key KPIs, all the way down to the line item detail, and then being able to manipulate that data. We would expect a user to be able to do this after 1 day of training. We believe the system is that intuitive that they can do that. I'm just checking the time. I think I've got time for a quick one.
And one of the things we would say as well, sorry,
go ahead.
One of the things we'd say as well, when it comes to training, the training overhead on this is quite light. For power users, it's a day of general training and then a day in any particular area. For end users, what we call viewing users, who can still interrogate and make changes to the data, it's kind of somewhere in the region of a couple of hours of online video, so online tutorial. So not a big overhead in terms, so it's not the kind of thing you do 5 days, go away, forget about it, have to go back and refer to your notes. It's pick it up and use it whenever you need it.
Okay, I'm just going to talk about the sales area as well, because this is then we're talking about delivery to customers. So this one I'm going to click at a very high level. And we're doing quite well here. We're on 91%. Did that rather quickly. But we've still got some customers that are not well served. So these are our top 5 worst served customers. And what I can do is I can then drill down and just look at what's causing the issues here. So I have this idea of a bottleneck type. This is in every angle field. So this is using the calculations that sit behind every angle. And let's just drill down to sunburst ink. And we're going to get a single line of detail. Okay, so that's quite interesting. We're having a look at that. But what I really want to do is let's take a few of these filters out, because you see I've got a number of filters in here. So I'm going to remove this one. Gives me a bit of a longer list. I'm also going to remove the bottleneck type here as well. So now I've gone from a single line, and I'm back up to 29 lines. I want to look at open and close. I want to look at everything I've got here. So I'm going to create a quick pivot on my customer. And then I'm going to add a bit more detail to it. Not exactly a thrilling pivot, that one, so let's go put a bit more information in. So if I look at my suggested fields, and suggested fields are ones that you, as a business, can set up. And I want to look at execution status, so I'm going to insert that one. I'm going to look at delivery reliability as well. So we've talked about it already, but this is delivery by reliability to your customers. So we click on that one. And I'm also going to put in my sales value again, because quantity is always interesting, but value is probably more interesting. And let's put our units back in again, and let's apply that very quickly. Okay, so in this example, I've got my closed orders here, and I can see that I've delivered them late. I've got my open orders here. I've got 13 that are late, and I've got 3 that are critical. So these are going to turn late unless I do something about them. Right now I'm just looking at sunburst, but let's get rid of sunburst. And now I'm going to look at all my customers here. So let's pop this back in. And what I've just done is created a nice list, an action list, of customers that I need to be talking to who have got critical orders. Let's pop this out again, because there's not, I mean, I can do a bit about the late ones. The ones that are closed, they were delivered late. Those are going to go against our KPIs, unfortunately. But I'm really interested in these critical ones, because these are the ones I can still make a change to, I can still do something to, so they won't go late and the customer will still be satisfied. So let's add a filter here quickly. I only want to look at critical, and click OK, and I'm down to a slightly shorter list there. I could add a bit more detail here. So let's put in sales group. So if you're using sales groups, these are going to be either a single salesperson or a group of salespeople who can potentially help you with this. I click apply on that, and I've got a big long list with all my either salesmen or women or sales groups at the top. I've got the value, and I've got the customer, and then I can drill down and see these ones. Okay, so the final thing, and Larry touched upon this earlier, is these are the sales orders, but I want to see what's impacting these, why they are going to be critical. So the final thing I can do is add a field which is delivery reliability, but this one is from our orders that are delivering to us. So I can look at delivery reliability for our delivering orders, anything that's going to supply our sales orders. Could it be purchase orders, could be coming from stock. I can double click on that. And I also want to apply a filter on this one. Click OK, let's apply that. Sorry, let me put it back in again. Just needed to...
This is the problem with a live dem.
Yeah, this is the...
Click the wrong thing.
Hold on to your hats. So let's just go back to delivery reliability supplying. Click apply. So now I've not only got that I've got critical ones here, but I've also got the criticality of my delivering orders. I can take this down, add a filter, apply that. I've got a nice short list here, but this is absolutely key information for you, because these are critical sales orders that also have critical purchase orders. So these are anything that's supplying those sales orders, this is your list. So those 4 customers you have there, and I appreciate the values aren't enormous, but these are the ones that you can really make a difference to quickly to improve your customer service outcomes. Okay, that's my demonstration. I'm going to be on the stand all day, so if people want to see more of the system, I'll be taking the laptop back. Please come and drop by, and I can give you a bit more information about the control towers and everywhere else.
Click back to the presentation. It's your laptop, I'm not touching it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Every time I touch this laptop, it breaks.
Okay.
And the clicker.
Oh, yes. There you go.
Okay, and now Neil from Premier Foods. And you just push that button there. Oh, that's upside down. That's it. So forward. Yeah. And again. There you go.
Hi all. So my name's Neil Hitchcock. I'm a business intelligence architect from Premier Foods. We took a look at every angle from a POC perspective first. We're pretty much a SAP house. We've had BW for 9 years. We've had business objects analysis for 5 years. But we're still got creators in the organisation where people are running multiple hub apps, standard SAP transactions, Bob J reports, download to Excel, joining it all up. So still massive big gaps in our sort of information model. So we thought about how we can actually leverage every angle, and what we did was we had a POC, and one of a key area we'd had trouble with was the end-to-end process information. We previously engaged with BW and ABAP partners of ours from a support perspective, and spent probably 2.5 years failing to get an end-to-end process report. So part of our POC was basically to work with these guys and see if we can go right from order to cash. In about 5 days, we did it. We leveraged standard content. We enhanced standard content for some specific reasons of ours. And we actually achieved it in 5 days that had previously failed in 2.5 years of ABAP and BW development. So that allowed us to then create views. So we started drilling into the end-to-end process and various views. One of the out-of-the-box perspectives on there, I think Luke touched on it before, polluted back orders. We found that we had £300,000 worth of stock just sat in the system, badly reserved against old orders. So one of the first things we do was release that stock, and that was back in circulation. So pretty much the first 2 years worth of IT costs of every angle was recovered in very quick time. We had quite a few requirements in the AR department around trying to actually engage with the SAP change tables. Notoriously bad if any of you guys are on the IT side, but looking at SAP changes is quite slow and arduous. So in quite quick time, we did manage to develop something against the SAP change tables. I'll go into that in a bit more detail later. We also want to replace SE16, bespoke ABAP queries, and start to get rid of all this download, lookup shenanigans that goes on. So we had a few examples pretty quickly of getting rid of some aspects of that. There's still massive swathes of the business that do that all over the place. So that's a real target for us over the next couple of years. Also had loads of SAP reports that either took ages to run, time out, we have to run overnight. So bringing the data into every angle pretty much gives us response within, pretty much within seconds, at the most the odd minute. And it allows us to drill down into detail. So in BW, where we've sometimes summarized information, we actually use this tool in combination with BW, so we can actually drill into detail that isn't stored in BW and use the two tools together, side by side. We also wanted to review an account management strategy. So our account managers haven't been collecting debt well enough, quick enough. So we've tried to start using it to underpin that whole account management strategy. We've got a new business unit, a colleague of mine here, we've started using that to support the new business unit that maybe didn't just drop out of standard reports or BW content previously built. And probably a major area was master data. We've spent a lot of time chasing master data. The previous guy made mention to that. Master data, little issues here and there cause massive swathes of lost time and ineffective resource management. So what we want to do is transform the master data from being reactive to proactive. Support speedy developments, agile prototyping. So what we're looking at is building our power users. So we've got 2 or 3 power users we built over the last year who use this tool, again, in conjunction with business objects. So agile development, and I've got a couple of examples we can use. We have a vision to leverage standard content more. So we're at the beginning of our journey here. We've been using it 3-4 months in earnest, and we want to build into other areas of the business. So we've got the supply chain finance, we've got the production sites, new business units, plant maintenance. We want to look into the operational dashboards and control towers. So we've touched on them, but we've not really leveraged that value yet. And we've done all that on a cloud solution. So we've implemented on a cloud solution using AWS. We've got a test system, production system with a main database and a backups database as well. So as we're loading data, we never lose access to our data because they just flip over as the new database comes available. So just drilling into a bit more detail, orders to cash. It enables visibility right from the start to the finish. We've got many use cases, and our last estimate before we built this was 70k from a BW support partner to build it. We built it in 5 days, 5 days of their time and a bit of our time. So a massive improvement on what would have been in BW. Another little win we had was we built an Intercept View as a view of that data. We built it in 2 hours, and it saved a young lady 7 days a month of time. She loves it now, and there's a potential for a new power user. So I mentioned before, we've used standard angles. We've freed up 300 grams worth of stock over the last year, and we're looking at proactive management with a new international business unit. For there, we've got things like alerts, looking at missing prices, delivery blocks, customer service, shorts. So some of the things Luke touched on before, but we're looking at really wanting to leverage that further in the future. Another area is obsolete stock. So it was hard to get the information out easily. So we're using standard angles to look at things that can look dispatch, forward orders, and better management of obsolete stock. And one that's recently been done is quality inspection analysis to detecting bottlenecks. So all that stuff Luke's just showed you, one of our power users actually used that kind of approach and spotted some bottlenecks that we're alleviating now. In our AR department, that's probably the biggest area we've hit so far. We've grown a power user from scratch who was a typical end user, showing an interest, and she is a massive value to the organisation now. She's built a complex invoice reason code aging sort of dashboard. It's complex in that to try and do that in BW or ABAP, I reckon would have taken 3 or 4 months. She has built it herself with a few change requests supported by me. These guys run 2 or 3 days development work. That's now in and working. And we've got sort of real detail monitoring of reason codes. So when debt is outstanding for us, they put a reason code on. And what was missing was we never actually knew how long things have been on a reason code. This is the change log that we've developed, so we can actually manage by age, by reason code. Just recently, she has created an AR throughput dashboard. It was from an idea that was talked about. It was live, in live UAT within 3 weeks from just the idea inception. Power user driven, little bit of support from me, little bit of support from Luke, she got on and done it. Agile prototyping approach, done a bit, tested a bit with her user, and it's done. Early settlement discount, we've now got 15 angles and 2 dashboards live, all driven by this power user. Master data, major win for us. We've totally transformed reactive management of master data to proactive. So we've got one guy there, he's a consultant with us, and he's completely transformed that. Everything now is driven by alerts, and hardly ever do we get any tickets raised with our support organisation, which is quite hard to monitor the improvement because we don't get any tickets anymore. So he has a whole set of alerts that he's now really on top of it, and it's proactive, and master data is not much of a problem anymore. So where are we going next? We want to extend into new areas of the business, such as production, supply chain, finance. We want to really leverage these control towers and dashboards. And my colleague here, we're just chatting now that we're going to actually try and build a dashboard in the next couple of weeks based on our new business unit. We've got a 2-year plan to completely transforming our information management across the group. And this tool will underpin that program. It's not on its own. We will use it cooperatively with BW and Business Objects, and I'll help decide which tool we'll use for best scenario. Going to grow more power users. Power users enhance self-service, and these guys can really they know the process. Once they get well on with the product, they can just build things that used to take months or even years to get through an IT development lag. We've got lots of reports across the group, so one of the things that we do need to do is catalogue all our reports across all the tools. We're going to review an APO integration with these guys. So one of the constraints we've had this last few months basically is some of the angles there, such as excess stocks, we need that to be driven from the APO demand plan. Typically, that's now only driven from historic sales. These guys have a plan in place, and that's coming along in a few months, so that will address some of the constraints that we've had in the past. And we're going to review the opportunity to develop a user group. So we're very keen to share our experiences with other people, and people helping people will grow the value of this product even more. Thank you. Thank you.